diamonds in the sunset. Now your time has come. A pretty yellow bird fly away into the sun.
All right, 25 minutes before 10 o'clock. I have been looking forward to this interview for a while now, ever since I got the call from the publicist telling me about Joe Navarro. He has written a book called 3 Minutes to Doomsday. Joe Navarro, let me tell you about him. He's now retired, but he was a special agent with the FBI in the area of counterintelligence for 25 years. He's a founding member of the FBI's elite National Security Division Behavioral Analysis Program, and they focused on behavior of spies, terrorists, and criminals. He's got a lot of insight into that whole world that we read about in the news. We all think we're experts on it, but the truth is, we're not even armchair quarterbacks. We're not even Monday morning quarterbacks. We don't even qualify for that. If you read this book, you'll see how little you'll realize how little you know. Maybe put it that way. But he tells the story in such a magnificent way. I don't know if he was harboring his writing skills until he retired or not, but he certainly has them. And he's on the phone right now to tell us about the book, 3 Minutes to Doomsday. Joe Navarro, good morning, sir. What an honor.
Good morning, Larry. It's a pleasure to be here with you and Robin and your listeners.
Yeah, where are you calling from? Where do you live?
Tampa, Florida.
Tampa.
Nice.
Not too far away.
No.
Wow. And let's see. Was it Patrick Air Force Base? Is that who is monitoring the activity in North Korea right now? Is that right?
Well, it could be, but I'm not licensed to say. But
oh, okay.
I tell you, think about Florida. We have CENTCOM at MacDill monitoring one part of the world, and we have Patrick monitoring the other. This is a good state to be in.
Okay, I don't know if you meant that sarcastically or not. So, did you write books when you were with the FBI, or were you? Did you? Is it one of those latent talents that suddenly surfaced?
Well, you're most kind. Most people don't realize that government work is paperwork, and you end up writing a lot. And I had started writing books when I retired about interviewing and body language and so forth. And I had to learn the art of writing for the public rather than a bureaucracy. Otherwise, my books would read like on or about December 3rd, and nobody would read that. So I've learned along the way, and this is my 12th book, and so I think I'm starting to get it.
Oh my goodness, that's awesome. So this book takes us to 1988. Tell us where this book takes us.
Well, it was a scary time. It's before the Berlin Wall came down. This huge Soviet massing of forces all along Eastern Europe. We had 250,000 soldiers stationed, in Germany and across the Western Europe, and things were very dicey, and that's why it's called 3 Minutes to Doomsday, because the atomic scientists were fearful that at any time the Soviet Union would say, we've just about had it with all this freedom and perestroika, and they might act out. Really scary.
Have you ever looked at the whole mentality behind that kind of thinking? Like, why wouldn't they want freedom and free enterprise? Why wouldn't they want that for their own people?
Control. One of the things I've always said, that the KGB and its predecessor, the NKVD, they were really masquerading as, it was psychopathy masquerading as order. They wanted to control everybody. It was a totalitarian state, and they wouldn't even allow people to emigrate, listen to the radio. Any nation that forbids watching the movie Born Free, there's something wrong with them.
Right, and that's North Korea right now, right?
Well, North Korea is in part a lot like that, with their paranoid ideation, their constant fear of of the West, and their total distrust on outsiders, but absolute trust in one individual. And I have to say, I've never met that one individual you can trust fully.
No, absolutely. Boy, that's a great statement. The idea a few years ago was in the news that the Pentagon was asking novelists to come up with scenarios that would perhaps give them a heads up on some ideas that the bad guys might come up with, so that they could find a way to counter those ideas. They could have looked right to you. I mean, they didn't need to look outside their own ranks. I mean, you were right there. You could have given them some ideas.
Well, I appreciate that, but you know what? It's always good to go outside the government because, thinking outside the box, that's, as a profiler in the behavioral unit, that's the one thing I learned, is the minute you start thinking like a predator, that's when you start thinking about, they could do this, they could do that. It's jaw dropping, and it's an awakening when you think as a hostile.
And that was the Rod Ramsay, correct?
And that was the Rod Ramsay. Here was an individual who had scored the second highest IQ test in U.S. Army history, Robin, and thought that because the evidence was overseas and the case couldn't be proven here, that he thought he could talk his way out of it. And it was a challenge, and that's why the total investigation took about close to 10 years.
And that was the amazing thing about him. I mean, gosh, and then you also illustrate his photographic memory.
This individual was amazing in his own prowess because he had a photographic memory which he demonstrated for us several times when he revealed that he had passed a certain document. And I said, "Come on, Rod, nobody's going to believe that." And he said, "Find the document, and you'll find on page 23 on the left-hand side, bottom left, and it says this, and this." And everybody scoffed at it until we found the document. And then it was really jaw-dropping. But what stood out was this individual's ability to be amoral, to be totally moral-less, to really not care or about loving his country or cherishing his country or protecting his country. And he was a soldier. He was a U.S. Army soldier, and that's the tragedy of it.
That is the troubling part. When we learn about traitors, like in school, Benedict Arnold, I guess, is the only one I can think of right away. I mean, there wasn't much pushback from anybody that we learned about that said, no, this is a good guy. But in today's day and age, for example, I hope I'm not offending anybody, but if you group Jane Fonda into that group, you say, well, she was a traitor. Maybe not all of her life, but she did do a pretty what do you call it? What's the verb for that? Treacherous act?
The treacherous act was horrifying.
But anyway, I mean, everybody's forgiving her, and which is okay. I'm guessing. But in today's day and age, I'm saying we all jump on the bandwagon and have an opinion one side or the other with Facebook and everything.
Well, Chris, Larry, I got to tell you, I'm not sure that everybody forgives her. I know a lot of the guys that I went to high school with that went on to Vietnam. And to this day, while they were over there, they were not at all happy with her. And to this day, they haven't forgiven. There's a lot to. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to be said for loving your country and protecting your country. And as you know, there's been revelations. People have leaked things, and there's a big difference between leaks that embarrass a country and then what happened in this case. And Robin, we were talking about this earlier. The leaks that jeopardize the country's ability to defend itself, and that's unconscionable.
The book is called 3 Minutes to Doomsday. We are going to continue the conversation with the author, Joe Navarro, when we come back. Joe Navarro, special agent to the FBI, and is writing books now. Are you, well, I'll ask you on the other side of the break. The question will be, so you can think about it, did you have to clear anything before you publish things like this? So let's take a little break, and we will be right back. Plus, the phone lines are open. If you want to call, you're welcome to do that. This is The Source, WOCA Ocala.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. On this Friday, sunshine and very warm, high 83 on the coast, 89 inland. Mainly clear Friday night, lows in the 60s, upper 60s along the coast. Saturday, sunshine, so clouds, quite warm, high 84 at the coast, 89 inland. For Sunday, partly sunny and warm, but watch out for a couple of heavy thunderstorms in the afternoon, high 83 to 88. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
There are only a few things in life that you can be certain will always be around: death, taxes, the pursuit of happiness, and computers. As they continue to advance at an epic pace, the one absolute certainty about them is that they'll break. It's not an if, it's a when. And when it happens, bring it to the only company in Ocala that's certified in Apple and Microsoft, Ocala Mac and PC Repair. They even offer on-site computer repair service, so they come to you. And if you do drop it off, you can check your repair status online. Ocala Mac and PC Repair is a family-owned and operated company that can do everything from mobile repair to wireless networks, fixing viruses, data recovery, even building and installing new systems. Visit online at ocalamacpc.com. In person, 1713 East Silver Springs Boulevard, or give them a call, 352-566-8324. That's 352-566-8324. Ocala Mac and PC Repair.
Hi, I'm Seth with AA Lock, Dock, and Security. Have you ever thought about the locks or security on your house or business? Have you ever wondered why the keys to your new car cost so much? Well, at AA Lock, Dock, and Security, we can help with securing your valuables. We can even replace those expensive transponder keys. We can give you the knowledge that no one else will. Call AA Lock, Dock, and Security at 867-1965. That's 867-1965.
On May 6th, from 6 till 9 p.m., embark on a magical night at the Appleton Museum of Art. Grab a golden tablet for an enchanting adventure with unicorn carriage rides, magic shows, mermaids, artwork that comes to life, and more. Make eye-popping art in the art space and enjoy refreshments. Family ticket package is $30 for members, $45 for non-members. Individual tickets are also available. For details and to purchase tickets, visit appletonmuseum.org.
All right, 12 minutes before 10 o'clock, 73 degrees. It's going to be a beautiful Friday, beautiful Saturday. There is rain mentioned for Sunday. We're not going to complain. We need rain. Our guest is in Tampa, so his forecast probably isn't that different than ours. Joe Navarro is our guest. He's the author of the book, 3 Minutes to Doomsday. And I just wanted to read the inside flap, the first paragraph of the inside flap. In 1988, Joe Navarro, one of the youngest agents ever hired by the FBI, was dividing his time between SWAT assignments, flying air reconnaissance, and working counterintelligence, but his real expertise was reading body language. I love this part of this book, by the way. I wanted to talk to him about that.
Me too.
He possessed an uncanny ability to glean the thoughts of those he interrogated. Just a little bit of the second paragraph. So it was that on a routine assignment to interview a person of interest, a former American soldier named Rod Ramsay. His name came up in the first half. Navarro noticed his interviewee's hand trembling slightly when he was asked about another soldier who had recently been arrested in Germany on suspicion of espionage. And it was that observation that opened a can of worms for Ramsay. Joe, thank you for waiting through the break. That's pretty fascinating stuff. Were you always that way, or did working for the FBI sharpen your skills at being able to read a person that way?
You know, from an early age, my mother would tell you that I was always looking around. I was always examining the world around me, and I was very curious about people and finding the honesty. And most people intuitively know this, how body language often betrays true sentiments. The FBI definitely honed those skills because interviewing is just about observation, and And in this case, it was one of those fortuitous things where instead of where I normally would be writing notes, I was just talking to this guy. And when I mentioned the name of Clyde Lee Conrad, his cigarette shook. And he did that 3 times. And I thought, wait a minute, why would a person's nervous system react this way? And as you both know from the book, I went to my supervisor and I said, well, I want to open up a full investigation on this guy. My supervisor said, are you crazy? You know what that's going to sound like when I have to testify before Congress that we opened up an investigation based on a shaking cigarette? But, I'm glad I had a supervisor that had the courage to say, well, you know what, at least go out and talk to him again. And again and again, and that eventually led to his confession.
What I was trying to say, which I probably was awkward in saying when I was talking about traitors from the past and Jane Fonda, is that in today's day and age, there will be people who defend the traitor, not that they forgave necessarily, but defend.
Yeah.
And you know they're out there on Facebook. Did that happen for Ramsay? I guess that's where I wanted to go with that whole dialogue.
There's always people that will defend the traitor. There's always people that will defend the serial killer.
Yeah.
I've come to the realization that there will always be someone that will, and then you can fill in the blanks. But the majority of Americans, the majority of individuals in this country who love this country understand that part of loving this country is protecting that country. And when you betray its secrets, when you give the enemy an advantage, any advantage, be it vocal or through documents, you're undermining our sacred duty to protect each other.
I love that.
And so when it comes to these individuals, my philosophy is prosecute them, and let a jury decide what should be bequeathed to them.
I don't know how much you would charge, but I would love to have you write a script for me so that I would have it in my pocket every time I get a call from somebody with an Indian accent who says he's with the IRS and that I'm going to be arrested in an hour if I don't. I would love to have your words at my disposal.
Yeah, it's always it's like the old. I used to get these emails from Nigeria where $6 million were waiting for me, but it was at a Yahoo account. Yeah, I get so tired of those things. Yeah.
Oh man, wouldn't you love to have that script though, Robin? Just his words, just his words, the way he would say them. Oh, I walked. Robin and I share an office. I walked into our office, and Robin was very nervous on the phone, and I could tell from her end of the conversation that it was one of those guys. And I went right away to YouTube, and I found one, and I said, "Robin, does the guy sound like this?" And she said, "Yes." I said, "It's fake. It's fake. Just hang up on him."
Here's the trick, and your callers can do this, and just say, "Stand by. I'm going to transfer you directly to the local IRS office." Thank you.
I love that.
Oh wow!
When you released your book like this, were you leery of the fact that maybe somebody who was friends with Rod would come after you or something?
Yeah.
Well, we ended up putting away 4 people for a very long time, and I put other people away in prison, and you always, wonder where are they and so forth, but you can't live your life like that. Larry, you asked earlier, did the Bureau approve this? Yeah, of course. He sent it to the Bureau first as a draft and then in its final form, and they looked at it and approved it. We didn't reveal anything that was classified or would in any way do harm to the country, but it certainly put the bad guys on notice that, these details are coming out, and so be it. I mean, this is their behavior. This is their criminal behavior. As I used to tell the people I manage, don't do anything that you wouldn't mind reading about on the front page of the New York Times.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, is it harder to get a conviction when the crime was committed in another country?
It's hard. That's a great question. It's harder to get the evidence. As you know, if you confess to a crime, the police still has to go out and prove the case. You can't, big cases often get a lot of people that confess to it. The evidence in this case was mostly sitting in the vaults of the KGB in Russia. So how do we prove it? And that's why it took so long, because we had to corroborate what documents existed, when they could have gone over, where this could have taken place, the meeting sites. They would meet their handlers in Austria, in Vienna, in Mainz, in Germany, different locations. And so we had to literally get on a train, get on a bus, get in a cab, prove that these restaurants, these meeting places existed. What was the weather like? What did the individual look like? All these things had to be proven.
It's just very disheartening to realize that people who profess their love of country would sell themselves and the country out.
Yeah.
It's it's for us who are moral and who have character and who obey the laws. It's just something that is unthinkable, and yet for these individuals, it was no more difficult than choosing which parking slot to park in. I mean, that much thought went into it. They're just so immoral.
We do have a phone call. Let me take the call. The book again is called 3 Minutes to Doomsday. Joe Navarro is our guest, and good morning. Thank you for calling and for waiting. You're on the air.
Yeah, good morning. Some of the more famous ones from recent years, of course, are the Walker family and Aldrich Ames. And so I'll leave you with those three names and hang up.
Just traders, you mean?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think we're mentioning traders.
Yeah.
Joe, thank you for being on the air with us today. I have a copy of the book. If we have a listener who would like the book, it's called 3 Minutes to Doomsday. The rest of us have to go buy it. Can you recommend some websites? I know Amazon's probably one of them.
Amazon has it, or they can come to my website at joenavarro.net. And thank you both for having me on your show.
Oh, you're welcome. Let me give the book away. Good morning. You've got the book. Who's this?
This is Sonny calling.
Sonny, you've got the book. It'll be waiting for you here. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonny.
Can I ask a question?
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
Oh, actually, it's not a question. When I was in the service, I was in. I think it was in the Balearic Islands, Palma, Spain, and I met the person there. It was a long story there, but anyway, I said, it was a girl, and where are you going next? I said, I knew, but at that time we were playing bumper boats with the Russians, and like that, and. I said, I don't know where I'm going. I knew we were going. The next port was going to be Cannes, France. But I said, I don't know. They don't tell us. And anyway, I get to Cannes, France, and there I was on a deep draft vessel, so we had to anchor. Took the boat, and I get in at the boat landing, and who's standing there but the girl I met in Palma, Spain. It was...
Wow.
It was all right, but I didn't run into it. It just bothers me how certain people find things out, and that was back in 1960.
Wow.
And when I say bumper boats with the Russians, most of the Russian ships that were in the Mediterranean had ice-breaking capabilities, so we would actually bump.
Thank you, Sonny. Appreciate the call. Yeah, we're out of time. Joe, again, thank you for being on the air with us today, and good luck with the book.
Thank you. Take care.
All right, we'll be right back.
This is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Fox News Radio. I'm Lillian Wu. The Champs-Élysées in Paris reopened after an attack overnight, which left the vacationing Finney family running for their lives.
He was in black garb, had a black, looked like a black machine gun, and he started spraying bullets.
The gunman killed one policeman before being killed himself. 2 others were hurt. Reports say, according to sources, there was a written note defending ISIS next to the gunman's body. There's a massive spending bill which has to be in place by the end of next week, and the Trump administration is pushing for money for the wall to be included in it.
White House Budget Director Mick Mulvaney told the AP he wants to avoid shutting down the government, but added wall funding and more money for new immigration agents are top priorities. Homeland Security Secretary John Kelly says the administration wants to start work on the wall ASAP.
Fox Radio's Rachel Sutherland. Fox News. We report. You decide.
Everybody get up! Everybody get up! Everybody needs to understand that I'm more than simply a hype man for this rap group. Just like Geico is more than just a company that can save you money. Geico also has fast and friendly claim service, so they can help you when you need it most. And while I do love being a hype man, I also love